you so much, everyone, for tuning in with me tonight. And my goal for this show is actually to introduce us to people, an idea that could help us to execute on our dreams and our desire on how to live smarter and more wiser in life. Tonight, I have an incredible guest here with me, an amazing woman for that matter, I would say. Yeah. Tonight I have Eva Laura with me. Eva Laura, she's one of the most outstanding spiritual healer and intuitive consultant. Eva Laura, she's an author and a keynote speaker, and she's a spiritual counselor and a spiritual healer as well. Eva Laura, it's good to have you joining me on this platform this very evening. Oh,
Absolutely. It's good to be here. And, for those of you watching in America where I am in the afternoon.
that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Honestly, I during my course of research about you, I found something that was really quite interesting to me. You know,
Mhm.
I realized something that really got me kind of fascinating about you. You you've been doing healing work since you were born. You know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Healers are
when, when,
born.
when I saw that was a kind of man, what is this? you know, you be counseling and healing people even right from childhood. I think this is something that happened maybe unconsciously. I don't know. How did this happen?
So it's sort of a running joke, if you will, in that I believe that healers are born healers, right? And you may not know that you're a healer when you're a child, but healers are born. And it's through our experiences and life experiences and things that we go through, that we establish ourselves. So maybe we get more training, maybe we get mentorship, whatever. So we grow in our gifts. But the healing abilities are a part of us when we are born, right? And some people just take longer to realize that than others because, all of us sort of go through a journey of who am I? Why am I here? What are my gifts? What's my purpose? That kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so I just knew early on, even though I didn't necessarily call myself a healer, I knew early on that my gifts were, to help people, to advise people, right? To help people to feel better. I am the oldest of three children. Some would say I'm a natural, born leader, or some would call me bossy. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm good at advising people. But that was always in me. I was always the one that was very, always a very good listener, always very wise, always just sort of taking in what people are saying and able to advise them in a really healthy way that helped them in their lives. And so that was a gift that came natural to me. And so as I got older, I decided to go to Howard University here in Washington, D.C., and I got my bachelor's degree in psychology, my master's degree in social work. And so I decided to make that profession. But that ability, that gift was always a part of me. And then through my journey, I learned that, I was actually a natural dream interpreter, that came, easy to me, that I was gifted in hands-on healing. And so I learned Reiki and studied Reiki. I studied meditation and yoga. So studied kind of all of these different healing arts, to just kind of immerse myself, to pull out my gifts, but also to be able to help my clients more.
Wow, what an incredible story, man. I could just imagine, maybe probably in your primary school, in your grade, seeing you interpreting dreams to your to your roommates or to your classmates in school. I think you must be a superstar in your school there.
No, I mean, they didn't ask me for dreams, but they definitely did ask me for advice.
Wow, wow, that's actually really incredible. you know. So I think let's quickly dive into the main topic for today, Eva Laura. You
Mhm.
know, dreams. I listened to one of your contents regards to dream. It was really quite interesting, and I feel like this is something I could be able to bring out to most people. What are dreams and where do they come from?
Yeah, I first of all, thank you for having me talk about this topic. I think you're talking about my YouTube
Yeah.
channel, and it's funny, like that video is so old, but people still watch it and they still listen to it, and I still get questions about it, and I still get people requesting dream interpretations because of that video. And so even though it's old, like I left it on there because it's still relevant. You know what I mean? Like it's still very relevant. It's dreams is something that people are really fascinated about and don't really understand. And so it's like one of my highest ranked, YouTube videos, even though I have far more current ones. But I love talking about dreams because it is often misunderstood. Like I said, my background is actually in psychology and social work and mental health and counseling. And so when you're in that field, you learn about dreams from a more psychological way of understanding that it's from your subconscious mind or your unconscious mind. You learn about Freud and you learn about Jung, considered the sort of fathers of dreams. And that's the only lane that you learn about, right? So you learn that your dreams come from your subconscious mind, and that oftentimes they represent things that are going on with you that maybe you're not aware of, or maybe repressed memories, or things that you're scared of or anxious about or whatever, and they come up through your dreams. Like that's what you learn when you study psychology and mental health.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I learned, because again, my process is very holistic. And so, yes, I'm trained in psychology and mental health and social work and all these things, but I'm also trained in the sort of the Eastern, in meditation and yoga and in also spirituality as well. And so I kind of have all facets, in the work that I do. And so one of the things that I learned when I studied dreams with my spiritual teacher is that dreams really actually are spiritual messages. They actually are messages that are sent from spirit or from God or from whatever you want to name it. And if you look at it, we talk about dreams in the Bible, right? In the Quran, like all of the holy texts talk about dreams and reference dreams. We have Joseph the dreamer, who was well versed in dreams. And so, even though from the psychological point of view, we talk about it from our mind and repressed memories, dreams came about far before psychology was formed. And so if you can talk about dreams in the Bible and the Quran and these spiritual texts, clearly dreams are spiritual. There's a spiritual component to it. And so my belief is that there are different types of dreams, and the overarching type of dreams that we really want to interpret that are most important are considered holy dreams, or the dreams that come from God or come from spirit as spiritual messages.
Wow. Wow. Honestly, because personally, at a point, I kind of learned how to pay more attention to my dream, because sometimes when I don't pay attention to my dreams, I become a victim of the day, probably for
Mm.
victim of things that I could actually really see myself struggling to get out of. Let's say, for instance, there was a time I had a dream. I had a dream in the night that somebody gave me some money. It was a bulk of money, you know.
Mhm.
So when I wake up in the day, when I wake up in the morning, I didn't actually took the dream serious, you know. Although I thought about it, like, what could this mean? So I
Mhm.
just wake up and go about my day. And on that very day, I, as I was driving, I ran into somebody, and I damaged somebody's car, and I end
Mm.
up paying a lot of money to somebody else.
I'm so glad you said that. And the reason that I'm glad that you said that is because most people will have that dream and they would think that it means money for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like that would be the natural, like, oh my God, I had a dream about a pot of money, so I'm gonna get money. But I knew as soon as you said that was bad. Because I interpret dreams and I know that that's actually not good. And what you just showed in that example is how most dreams that we have, they are coded, right? And so they're symbolic, they're not literal. Most people, the problem that we have is not only do we not take them seriously, like you said, a lot of people, I hear this all the time, oh, it's just a dream, it's not important. That's way more important than what happens in everyday life in your dreams. Your dreams are way more significant than things that you see in your everyday life, right? But so that's one problem. You don't take it seriously. But the bigger problem is, even if you take it seriously, is not understanding what your dreams mean. And so there's so much misinterpretation. And so what you just did, you didn't take it seriously. But even if you did, you probably would have thought like, oh, I had a dream about money, so that means money. Everybody does that. They take their dreams so literally, but dreams are not literal. They're symbolic. They're literally a different language. And so if you're going to understand how to interpret dreams, you have to understand the language of dreams. You can't take it literally like, okay, so if it's a car in my life, then that means a car in a dream. It means something totally different. And that's a huge part of understanding dreams, is understanding that language.
Wow. Wow. But sometimes I do think some of the dreams in the night are just garbages collected by our brain and being replayed in the night. Sometimes, and probably maybe, I don't know if how much you have experienced hunger when you were growing up as a child. I did experience it a lot. Sometimes when you bypass your neighbors and you perceive the aromas of the dinner, then you went to bed and you start seeing yourself in a nice restaurants dreaming.
So I talk about that. So I talk about the three dream types, right? And the first one I talk about is what I've been mentioned here, are that they're like holy dreams, right? They are the dreams that have spiritual messages. Those are the most important dreams. Those are the dreams that you want to get interpreted, the dreams that you want to understand, because they either contain either an important message for you or warning or something. And so that dream that you had about the money, I would consider that like a holy dream. Like that was a message. It was a warning. It was saying, hey, if you don't watch out, you are going to have to shell out a lot of money today, right? And not necessarily today. It could have been the next day or the next week, even the next year, because dreams, they come, before the event happens, right? So that was a warning dream. It was telling you like what was going to happen if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So that is one type of dream. There's also what we would consider like an evil dream or a nightmare, right? And that would be considered a dream that maybe comes from negative spirits or bad spirits. And that's not necessarily a dream that you want to pay attention to. Is not necessarily important, right? And so that's a dream that you might have, is like, oh my God, I had this horrible nightmare. It might be in a holy dream sense. It could be a warning, or it could be an evil dream that, is not important. Don't pay attention to it. And then we have the third type of dream that you just mentioned, which is the brain dream. Like the brain, it comes from your brain, it comes from your mind. And so what some might say like your subconscious or something like that, but it comes from your mind. And it's just that, like maybe before you went to bed, you were watching something on TV, right? Maybe you were watching a horror movie. You could have been watching something scary, or, you were watching anything. I'm trying to think of like what's big on TV right now. Like Lovecraft is kind of huge, So you're watching some show on TV, and then all of a sudden you start dreaming about the characters on the show, or you start dreaming about something that you just saw in the show. So that would be like considered like a brain dump, kind of like you said, and that's not an important dream. So one of the things a good dream interpreter could do, because not all dream interpreters are considered equal. Most, I'm sorry, don't really even understand what they're talking about. They kind of just interpret your dreams literally. They really don't even know how to interpret dreams. They don't understand the spiritual significance of dreams. So a good dream interpreter can tell you, yes, this dream is important, and this is what it means. Or, you know what? No, that's garbage. That doesn't even mean anything. Throw it out.
Wow. But how can we be able to understand the kind of dreams we should take serious and the one we shouldn't take serious? Do we have to visit a dream expert before we should know the kind of dream we can take serious or not? Or we can just personally diagnose, okay, this is holistic dream, or this is just some piece of garbage collected by the brain, or whatever it is.
Right. So here's the thing, and this is what you got to understand. Dreams are extremely complex. It's probably one of the most complex things that you could ever learn or study and delve into, because you're dealing with the mind, you're dealing with the spirit, you're dealing with the emotions, you're dealing with all of these facets. And so they're very, very complex. So I've been studying this for 20 years, and there's still things that I learn about dreams. So you as a lay person There's only so much you're gonna get, right? So just putting that into context, like this could be something that you study for years and years and years and you're still learning. So the best way to be sure is to go to a valid dream interpreter. Now, there are some clues, and some clues would be, let's say this is a dream that you've been having over and over again. We call that a reoccurring dream. And it may not be the same exact way every time, but it's the same elements. Maybe you notice the same people, or you're doing the same things, or it has like the same feeling or emotion to it, right? So that would be a reoccurring dream. That's an important dream. That's one you want to get interpreted, because if it's happening over and over again, this is letting you know like this is a problem, or this is something really good that's going to happen that you need to know about it. So that's one way that you know. If you have a dream that is extremely vivid, like maybe your dreams like aren't that vivid, right? They're kind of bland, but this one was like, whoa, it was like full of color and all this was going on. It had a different texture or tone to it. And you woke up and you kind of have this knowingness, like that was important. That was different. There was something going on there. Right. Have you ever had that experience? Like you may not know what it is, but like there's something to it. So that lets you know, like, yes, okay, you know what, this is a dream that I want to get interpreted. This is important. Pay attention to it. The other thing is that, especially, have you ever had a dream where as soon as you have it, you immediately wake up?
Yeah.
Right? It like wakes you up out of your sleep. That's an important dream. If you wake up like immediately after a dream, that is something that's absolutely important. You want to write it down immediately, capture it, record it. There is something to that. So there are some cues to let you know if it's important or not.
Wow. Wow. Honestly, this actually led me to the next question I actually I want to ask you. Let's talk about remembering dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think I read an article sometime that said that when we sleep in the night, we have minimum of like 6 or 7 dreams every night when we sleep. And sometimes when you wake up, you don't even remember one.
Yep.
And like personally, I have, like I said before, I started learning how to pay more attention to dreams, because sometimes dreams have actually become very significant to me in most of my endeavors. Because for instance, there was a time like about 5 or 6 years ago or so, I was arrested in Germany. I was trying to transit from Austria to Germany then, and I was arrested. So when I was in the cell, I had a dream. And I don't know if I should call this a lucid dream or something. I was kind of awake, and a friend of mine just walked into the room, into the cell room. The door just opened, and this is a door that's the police have to lock with about 3 or 4 padlocks. All of a sudden the door opens automatically, and the guy just walked in, and I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I was conscious and I was unconscious, but I know I noticed everything that was going on. And he told me, because I was to go to the court the next day, and he told me, this is what you have to say when you get to the court. And this is what the judge is going to ask you. Trust me, Eva, exactly what he told me. And that was what the judge asked me. When it got to the court, the judge asked me, what do you want me to do to you? And just exactly what he told me, I recited it to the judge. The moment I recited that to the judge paused for a few seconds and asked me, how much do you want to bail yourself? Because now the reason why we are holding you here, you could have go for 1 year imprisonment. But now the money you have, would you like to fulfill it? The money, then you can go away from here. I said, yes, of course, I would like to do that. Just as I was instructed in the dream. And that was how I got my freedom then. But my question is, if I didn't remember that dream then, probably I would have
So that's a prophetic dream, which is definitely in the holy category. Absolutely. That is a prophetic dream. And what's curious to me is what dreams you had before this happened to warn you, to tell you that this would happen. right? And if you had known that, you could have avoided the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're having prophetic dreams, more than likely you had dreams before this happened to let you know, hey, if you don't watch out, you're going to get locked up. So you're absolutely right. And I'm glad that you, I mean, not glad that you had that experience, but glad that you had a wake up call in the sense of letting you know, like, this is really important. And not everybody has prophetic dreams. So I don't want everybody to think that that happens. A lot of people don't necessarily have prophetic dreams. And I'm not saying that you're a prophet, but that is definitely a prophetic dream. When it happens exactly the way that it happens in a dream, that's rare. That does not happen all the time.
Wow. But what can we do in order for us to be always like whenever we had dream, we can always remember them? Because I personally, if I had dream, there are dreams that if I had and I don't remember, then I often fall victim of that dream during the daytime. So what do we do to always remember whenever we dream?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a few things that you can do. So first, watching something like this is so important because now you're getting a new sense of awareness about dreams. You're learning things that you did not know. And so now you can prioritize it, right? Like, we have this saying, like, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't understand that dreams are important, you're not even thinking about it. It's not even a priority for you. You got enough going on. You got your everyday life. You're stressed out. You're working. You got your family. You're trying to pay your bills. Like, you have all these things going on. So you're not even thinking about your dreams. So now you watch something like this, there's a new level of awareness, like, wow, I didn't realize dreams are so important. Dreams can help me know about things before they happen so I can prevent them or at least be aware of it, right? So I can handle myself in that situation. So that level of awareness is important. So now you can make it an absolute priority. And so just mentally putting it in your head, I am going to make this a priority. I want to remember my dreams. That in and of itself is very significant. The other thing that you can do that's so important. So I don't know about you there, but in America, people are stressed out, right? People live very stressful lives. They're always going and going. They got 50 million, 11 things going on at the same time, trying to balance and juggle all of these aspects of their life. And so one of the things that happens here is that people don't get enough sleep. Right? I talk about something called soulful self-care, and that's really how to take care of yourself so that you can achieve, the optimum things that you want in your life so that you can live your best life, as everybody's talking about. You got to practice self-care. And a part of self-care is getting enough sleep. So, for most doctors will say 8 hours. Not everybody feels like they have to get 8 hours of sleep. But I would say between 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night is important. I'm a sleeper. I dream, right? So for me, sleep is important. I need my 8 hours. If I don't get my 8 hours of sleep, I feel off. Like you don't want to be around me, okay? So I need my 8 hours. So I'm either gonna get my 8 hours of sleep or I'm gonna have to get a nap in there somewhere because I need my sleep. So it's important to get enough sleep. If you get enough sleep, that naturally helps you to go through all of the REM cycles so that you can remember your dreams. People who don't get enough sleep or people who work really odd hours, like here, like second and third shift, so they work at night, they have a hard time remembering their dreams because their sleep cycle is off. So instead of sleeping at night, they're sleeping during the day. Right? Or their sleep gets interrupted all the time. Or if you have like insomnia or, things like that, where you're not sleeping through the night, it's going to be more difficult to remember your dreams. So getting enough sleep is really important as well. And then there's other things that you can do. Another thing that I always tell my clients, and it works, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this worked. But you actually pray before you go to sleep, right? Like some of us, we learn this. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord before I keep, right? Like we learn this stuff, right? When we were young, but you actually pray before you go to sleep, and you can be specific, whatever your faith or whatever your belief is, ask for what you want. Maybe you want clarity about something. Maybe, you are trying to figure out, I don't know if I need to take this. I have this job opportunity. I don't know if I want to take it. Or, what, I'm interested in this girl. I want to ask her to marry her, but I don't know if she's the right one for me. Like, I want clarity on that. Or I'm going through this problem with a friend or a family member or whatever it is, and I want some insight on that. You can actually pray about that and ask that you receive the information in your dreams.
Wow.
So you ask for guidance. So you can do that before you go to sleep. And then, of course, what you want to do, you're doing all of these things, you're getting enough sleep, you're setting your intention to remember your dreams, you're praying about your dreams. You want to make sure that when you wake up, you capture your dreams. So the first thing you do, don't get on your phone. People waking up getting up, like, what? Why are you getting on your phone? You just woke up, right? First thing you do, replay what happened. Go through your sleep, right? Just take that moment, write down your dreams. Or if you do have your phone, you can record them on your phone, whatever works best for you. But you want to capture it immediately. Because if you don't do that, a lot of times, oh, I'll write it down later. And then later comes and you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot my dream. I remembered it when I woke up, but now I can't remember it. So you want to start to write it down immediately. And then there's some other sort of metaphysical things that you can do, like crystals. People love crystals. If you're familiar with crystal healing or crystal energy, you can use crystals. So you can use like amethyst and quartz and things like that. And you can put it like in your underneath your pillow, or you can put it on your nightstand next to you. And that energy also is a very spiritual energy that helps you to remember your dreams as well.
Wow. Honestly, this is really quite interesting. I think, yeah,
I done changed your whole life. You're like, oh my God.
No, this is really quite interesting because for someone like me, I really think I need this kind of exercise, because sometimes actually I dream a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes most of my dreams are actually very, very, very significant. And the problem is, like, sometimes I don't take them serious until I become a victim of the dream before also, damn, I wish I knew, you know. So, and
But let me just say, like, you are so not alone. Most people do that until they have a wake up call or an experience like you're reporting, and they're like, whoa, like there's something to this. Like, I need to remember my dreams. I need to really, prioritize my dreams. Now, I will say that not everybody absolutely has dreams, and everyone can remember their dreams, but not everybody really has that gift, if you will. So it's some people, their dreams are going to be more important than others. Like for me, dreams are absolutely important. I live by my dreams. It is a way that I get my information. It is a way that I have my knowingness. So there's many times where I will know things that are going to happen before they happen, because that is one of my gifts. So even though everybody has the ability to remember their dreams and has dreams, there's some people who that is their gift, that their dreams are very prophetic, and you absolutely have to pay attention to your dreams. If you don't, you will suffer the consequences.
wow, this is of course, actually, I think I know this quite alright, because I have experienced it, because I have suffered the consequence of most of the dreams that I didn't actually take so serious. So let's talk about recurring dream. Although you've made mention of it before, why do we get recurring dreams? Keep coming over and over. We dream certain things and they come again, and sometimes you sleep and you had a certain particular dream, and you wake up. Probably maybe if you fall asleep again, you still have the same kind of dream. Where do we get this current dream?
Mhm. So for stubborn people who don't like to listen or don't like to pay attention, it's just like life, right? Where that something is important when it keeps happening over and over and over again. So the first time it happened, you didn't really pay attention to it. The second time it happened, maybe you didn't pay attention to it. But the third time, you're like, oh my God, there's something going on here. Why does this keep happening to me? The same things keep happening over and over again. Now you start paying attention. It's the same thing with the recurring dream. It's like, look, this is extremely important. And in order to let you know it's important, I'm going to keep showing you again and again and again and again and again. And if you don't do anything about it, again and again and again. And so it just lets you know, like, this is so epic. This is so important. So if you don't pay attention to any of your other dreams, pay attention to reoccurring dreams, get them interpreted. There is absolutely something there for you. Again, whether it could be something good or it could be a warning. A lot of time recurring dreams probably are a warning, is letting you know, and it's It's one of the things we don't like to talk about in dreams. Like one of the things that I see is like an over simplification of dreams. And I think it's because people don't understand it. But I also see like a lot of false positives. Like if I watch TV and they show a dream interpreter and she's like, oh, that's great. What do you think the dream means? Well, that's what it means. That's a lie. That ain't what it means. It means what it means. Like there is a spiritual message. And a lot of times, unfortunately, and people don't want to they don't want to realize it, or they don't want to pay attention to it, but a lot of times dreams are negative, and they're not negative in the sense of, oh my god, my dreams are bad, I don't want to dream anymore, but they're negative in the sense of letting you know, like, hey, look, if you don't pay attention, if you don't listen, this is going to happen. And in order to help you to try to avoid this, I'm allowing you to have this dream so that you know this is what's going to happen. And so a lot of dreams that we have are what we would consider bad dreams or negative. They're not things that we want to happen. But the way that you kind of see them interpreted, like in the media, they're always positive. And most dreams are not positive. And so a lot of times you're having a reoccurring dream. It might be something that you would consider as bad or negative because it's letting you know, like, you really want to avoid this. It could be letting you know, like, hey, you're going to get sick, right? Take care of yourself, eat better, do the, exercise, do these things, because if you don't, you're going to get sick. So it's things, it's letting you know about these things so that you can try to avoid them.
Wow, this is really quite amazing, Eva. This is really quite amazing. And another thing I want us to talk about is this, because personally, I have seen some controversies generated from this kind of aspect. Sometimes when we save people, when people appear negatively in our dream, does it actually mean they are potential threats to us, or it's just the other way around? Sometimes,
Yeah.
for instance, like, let's say, for instance, you see somebody, probably your neighbor just chasing you in your dream with a machete or with a gun trying to shoot you, with a stone trying to break your head, does it actually mean these people?
Why are you so violent? No, let me stop. So let me say that's a great question. So a lot of times, remember I said dreams are symbolic, right? And unless you absolutely know that you have a prophetic gift and your dreams are straight, meaning exactly the way they happen, that's what happens in life, they are more than likely symbolic. Okay, so just basically put it in your head that the majority of your dreams are always going to be symbolic. So what happens is not what is going to happen. So usually, so this is, remember, and I also said that dreams are very complex, right? And very complicated. Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that happens is, obviously it depends on the dream. And I would not be able to say for sure until I was actually, interpreting somebody's dream. But one of the things that happens is you can have what's considered like a placeholder in a dream, meaning it's just somebody that you know, somebody that you're familiar with. They might be the one that you see in a dream, but the dream is not about them. And so we make the mistake of thinking that because, like you said, your neighbor, oh my God, my neighbor is going to try to kill me. No, that's not necessarily the case. It is not about your neighbor. Now, if that's happening in a dream, that's definitely a dream warning you of danger, but not necessarily from your neighbor. It could come from someplace else. And so the goal there is just understanding that that's about a danger situation, but not attributing it to your neighbor. So don't, ignore your neighbor or walk up to your neighbor like, yo, why are you trying to kill me? It's probably not your neighbor. Okay. But also one of the other things that happens with dreams about people is that sometimes you can have a feeling that is a person, right? Like you don't even see them, or they look like somebody else, but it's another person. Have you ever had that experience? So like I'm seeing my mother, but I know that the dream is actually about my father. Or I didn't see the person, but I felt like the dream was my father. So that can happen in a dream as well. And so again, it's just, it's a way of how spirit works. If you have a feeling that is about the person that you saw in the dream is not about them. It's going to be about the person that you felt like it was about. So your emotions in your dreams are very significant. Your knowingness is not the way that it necessarily presents themselves, but pay attention to your knowingness or how you feel.
Wow. Honestly, this is also quite very interesting, Eva, because why I actually really brought out this very question, because I remember there was a time a friend of mine, we walked past a particular person, and the person greeted, and he refused to answer. And I was kind of, man, why didn't you answer this guy?
It's like, oh, I just had a dream about you now.
Then he told me, I saw that guy in my dream last night, was chasing me with a machete, trying to, like, okay.
Ooh, that's a bit. So do you have a follow up? Like, did anything happen to him? That's a vicious dream. Now, let me say this too, just so it could be now, maybe he was watching a TV show and he saw that in the show and that happened. But if he didn't happen, yeah, that's a vicious dream. That's not one that I would want.
Yeah. Okay, another question I really want us to talk about is this. When you there are some kinds of dream that you dreamed of, and you really love them. You see yourself so fascinated about them. For instance, you fall asleep and you see yourself, you dreamt and you become the president of a state or the governor of a state or something. Can you really actually be able to manifest this kind of dream? Make them happen in the real world?
Well, again, if it's a holy dream, right? Like, so it's meant to give you a warning or tell you about something good that's going to happen. Absolutely. Like, that's what the dream is saying. Now, what I will say is this: just because you had the dream doesn't mean that it's automatically going to happen, right? It's not like you don't have to work. It's not like, oh, I saw in the dream I was going to be the governor, so I don't have to do nothing. I can just stay in bed all night and stay asleep. No, you still got to go through life. You still have to take action. You still have to do things. But if it is a holy dream, and it is a dream to let you know that, hey, look, this is a part of your future, this could happen for you, then absolutely that's what it means. But you just got to take action to stay on course.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Absolutely. That's why dreams are so powerful. And I mean, it's like people literally sleep on dreams. Like, you don't even understand how significant they are and how it changes your life when you recognize that your dreams are important. And if you pay attention to them, you literally have a guide. I mean, we're all here like asking for help. You want guidance, you want direction. And here it is, you have it right now in your dreams, and you're not even paying attention to it. Or you're, like you said, are you just writing it off? Or you thinking it means one thing, you're going in these dream, people go on Google all the time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Google is not God. Google don't know how to interpret dreams. I'm sorry, don't. So, so we're going through, going on Google or reading these books and we're thinking we got it. And unfortunately, we don't. So we're missing out on the significance. But what's really important to understand is that your dreams absolutely are important and they unlock so many keys. And when you want guidance and you want direction, especially spiritual in nature, one of the ways that is going to come is through your dreams.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. But let's say, for instance, like if we had like the holistic dreams or potential dreams or something, and then you happen not to remember the dream when you wake up, and you totally forgot about the dream. Probably this dream could be like something like giving you a kind of warning of what could happen. Like in my own case, what will you do if you don't remember your dream? Is there anything you can do to be able to work against the dream or to work for the dream or something?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much you can do. Like, if you don't remember, so let's say you have a dream and let's say maybe you feel like it's bad. Like, you just know it, like you can feel it in your spirit, right? But you don't remember what the dream is. One of the things that you can do, you can do what I said, like maybe try to remember your dream again. Maybe it could be a reoccurring dream. So the next night before you go to sleep, set your intention, pray, right? Ask about that. You can do that and see if the dream will come back. The other thing that you can do is go to, what if you have a spiritual teacher, mentor, somebody that you trust or somebody that get a reading or something like that to see like what's going on. because ultimately the dream is an indicator of something that can happen. And so you don't necessarily need to remember the dream if you have somebody trusted in your life who you utilize, who can give you readings that have that gift to say, well, this is what's going to happen. So that the dream could have been letting you know about this particular incident.
Wow, that's
So again, so like just remember, like use your dream. Your dreams are a vessel. Your dreams are a message. So if you don't get that particular message, if it's a signpost that something is going on, now you really want to figure out what is it that's going on. What is it telling you about?
amazing, amazing. My next question is, I think for me personally, it happened to me. It's an experience that I had. My little daughter. There was a time my daughter was just screaming in the night, and my house is a little bit big, and I had her screaming in the night, and I run to her. Then I picked her up. She was just shouting, "Daddy, lion, 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 lion." I remember a scenario, because I grew up with my grandma. I remember I had same scenario like that when I was a little child. And then my grandmother was wagging everywhere in the room. I will kill this thing today. I'm going to destroy this thing today, smacking everywhere. I'm going to kill. So when my daughter was screaming, and I quickly remember what my grandma did when I was a little child. Then I begin to bang everywhere. Where is the lion? I'm going to kill the lion right now. I'm going to kill the lion right now. And as soon as she saw me, wagging everywhere, hitting everywhere, looking for the lion to kill. Then she was calm, So she felt relaxed, believe that, yeah, that is a control now. That lion is going to die.
Yes, Daddy is my hero. It's so cute.
Sometimes when we are walking in a place that look like a jungle now, say, "Daddy, is there a lion in this place?" I said, "No." But if there's lion, I know you can kill a lion. I said, "Yes, of course. I can kill a lion, I know, right?" But if we, for instance, like our children, if they happen to wake up from a nightmares like this, when they happen to see scary stuff, maybe what they call it, hallucination or nightmares or something, how can we be of help to calm them down?
No, I mean, I think that what you did was great. I think that, every child obviously is different, but ultimately, when a child experiences something like that, they want to be comforted, right? They want to feel safe. And I think, if you can just help your child to feel comfortable, to feel safe, that it's okay to sleep, you're going to be okay. The lion is not really going to get you. You're fine. However that works for your child. Some people say, let me give you some hot milk, or you know what I mean? Or something like that. Or let me hold you and calm you down. Whatever that looks like for your child. But that's ultimately what it's about, is helping them to feel comfortable and helping them to feel safe. It's also important to understand that that is actually natural for children. Like, children have very active imaginations. That's what part of makes being a child special. Like, we believe things that, we grow up to be an adult, people beat it out of us. Like, we dream when we're children, right? Like, we think we can do anything. We think we can have superpowers and all this stuff, and you become an adult and you're like, girl, you can't do that. That's not real. So being a child is special in that we have really big imaginations, and we dream big, and we believe all these things. And so because of that, children tend to have a lot more dreams like that, right? Just because they have these overacting imaginations, or they're watching Disney or whatever, and the characters are coming to life in their sleep. So that happens a lot with children. So you just help them to feel safe. You help to comfort them, and that's really the best that you can do. Even if you feel like there's something to it, don't tell your child that. Like, they don't need to know all that. Just, you can ask them about the dream, what happened, tell them it's okay, reassure them, and help them to go back to sleep.
Wow, incredible. That's really smart, man. That's really smart. And also, like in our dreams, we see, like you said before, that dreams are quite actually really symbolic. Sometimes when we dream, we see objects and items which actually symbolizes meaning, or which are actually very significant to the meaning or the interpretation of the dream or something. Like in the case of Joseph in the Bible, he was able to mention the things he saw in the dream, which the brother could actually be able to use to interpret the meaning of the dream. There are things that we see in our dreams, when we dreams. Like
Mhm.
personally, me sometimes I don't know, I dreams a lot, and sometimes most of my dream, like I said before, are actually very quite significant. There are
Mhm.
things that there are objects that if I saw them in my dream, they actually meant something to my wake life. I
Mhm.
noticed this since childhood, actually. When I was growing up in my village, then, I was a hunter. I go to the bush with farm and I set traps. There are some particular objects that if I saw them in my dream, definitely my trap is going to catch an animal. I'm going to have an animal dead on my trap when I go there the next day. Because of this recurring objects in my dream, and whenever it happens, I was able to notice some of these objects. Although I don't see them more very often these days, but each time that I see them, sometimes
Are
I
you
just,
still hunting?
I don't hunt anymore. Sometimes I just wish I could see that object again, because every time I saw that object in the dream, I know in the next day is gonna be a good day. So there
Mhm.
are things like this when we
Yeah.
notice them in our dream. They are very symbolic
Mhm.
to what could happen the next day. So my
Mhm.
question now is this: when we dream and notice some objects or items or whatever in our dream, is there any kind of algorithm or formula we can use to put this object together to get the reinterpretation of what a dream is?
To answer your question, yes and no. And again, like I said, dreams are complicated. Um, they are probably out of everything that I've studied, and I've studied a lot. I study human nature. I study, how human beings think, how we feel, why we do the things that we do. I've gone to India and I've studied yoga and meditation, and I've studied so many different healing modalities, and I teach healing modalities. And dreams are by far the most complicated.
Complex, yeah.
So I have to keep saying that. In fact, that's one of the reasons people are like, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. I haven't written a book yet. I have a dream interpretation course. A 3-part dream interpretation course, a home study course that you can get. And I think it's really good because it goes through like students and their dreams, and we're going through the process of like breaking them down and interpreting them. But it's really challenging without an understanding of dreams to say, yes, there's a formula, because it's something that you can study. I studied years. It's something that you can study years, and still you will have a dream and you will be like, wait, I've studied hundreds and thousands of dreams, and this dream, I'm not really sure what it means. It doesn't meet that criteria. It happens that way. And so it's a challenge. And so if you really want that, like, you got to study dreams. You are not going to watch this and now be an expert on dreams and going to have it all figured out. Sorry, no, not going to happen. You're going to have to study dreams, and you are going to want to learn dream. You're going to. So part of the reason when I say like get your dreams interpreted, at least for me, I can't talk about everybody else, is that helps you to understand dreams. Like, the more you get your dreams interpreted, the more you start to understand certain symbols and see certain things, the more you can like, oh, okay, that's what that means. I've had this before, and that's what that means. And so it actually helps you if you, again, I'm gonna just say for me, because I can't speak for nobody else. Um, and so that actually helps you also learning, taking a course, like I said. So my course that I teach, you can learn those things, because it gets so let me give you an example of why it can be so complicated. You can have a symbol in a dream and it means one thing. You can have that same symbol in a dream, and depending on when you had it and where you had it, it can mean something totally different. And you got to be aware of all the different things that symbol can mean, and why it's not, why it's not the same. So for example, so one of the things that I teach is that the time of year is important when you dream. Why? Because so here right now it is fall, almost winter, here in the DC area where I am now. If I have a dream right now about actually no, let me not use that example because it's I'll make it a little bit easier. If it's winter right now,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at nature. In winter, the trees lose their leaves, right?
Yeah.
And so if I have a dream and it's winter and I dream of a tree and the tree is abundant and it has leaves and all this stuff, you would look at that and say, wow, that's great. But because it's winter and it's out of season for where I am, that's actually bad. So it's not great. But if it's like spring, summer, maybe fall, kind of where it like right now, and I had that dream, that's good. It's abundance. It means money. It means something really great is going to happen. So you can't know that if you've never studied dreams. You see, so it's not a set standard. There's certain rules, there's certain things that symbols mean. You have to know all these things, and then you got to try to pull it all together. So you see why that can get kind of complicated. It's not just like, oh yeah, tree means this. Well, no, what time of year is it? Where are you located in the world, right? How did you see the tree? You got to take all those factors into consideration.
Wow. Amazing.
So I mean, I tell people all the time, like that's why I'm telling you, Google does not work because it's not gonna break all of that down for you. Like most dream books don't tell you that stuff. You would never know that. I know that because I've studied dreams for years under a dream expert. So it's one of those things that if it's something that you're really interested in, that you feel called to, one, either learn it, study with somebody, or two, get your dreams interpreted so you can have a basic working knowledge of at least kind of how your dreams work. Because everybody's a little different too.
Wow. This is really amazing because sometimes I do just think maybe I could just add this color and this color together and then being able to figure out what the heck is this dream?
It's like saying to somebody, oh, I'm sick, right? And I realize something is wrong with me. I'm going, my stomach hurts and I have a cough, and you're self-diagnosing yourself. Did you go to med school? Like, do you know anything about diseases? Like, you can't just figure that stuff out without training and studying. And I think sometimes when we feel like it's something that comes to us, particularly like if it's spiritually, we think like, oh, well, it came to me, so I'm supposed to figure it out. Well, no, you can't necessarily figure that stuff out if you haven't studied it. Go to somebody who's an expert who can teach you, who can show you. That's why you have people who have gifts who can lead you and guide you. Like, that's what I do as a coach. I tell people all the time, I have clients all the time, oh my God, Ava Laura, I need help, but I thought I could figure this out myself. Well, why? Like, you have a job, you have kids, you're trying to run a business, you have a family. Why did you really think that you could figure all of these things out yourself? Like, is that what you do? I've trained in this work for years. That's why I can do it. But if I have problems in my own life, I don't try to figure it out myself. I go to a trusted confidant. I go to another coach. I go to somebody else who can advise me. And I do this work. So we have to think that way sometimes, like just because it's happening to you doesn't mean that you can figure it out. It means that it's happening to you because it's important and it's significant. Now go to an expert who can help you. Otherwise, you just, you shooting arrows in the dark trying to figure it out and leading yourself astray. And you're like, oh, I got this. And you really don't got it.
Wow, amazing. This is really quite revealing to me personally, honestly speaking. And also I quickly want us to talk about one dream that is actually quite common among almost everybody, and also one of the reasons why I really love you being with me today was because I realize that you have this kind of a more rational view in approach to dream interpretation rather than the most people cynical religious idea when it comes to dealing with dreams or something. You know, when it comes to like sexuality in the dream, which happen to almost a lot of people experience in the dream, doesn't mean does it have anything to do with demonic then or whatever? Because most people when they see when they have see themselves or have any dream associated with sexual intercourse, the dream they believe probably I have something like a demonic spirit encounter or relationship with demonic spirit, or maybe I have a spiritual husband, or maybe I have a spiritual wife. That is why I'm having sex in a dream or something. You know, does sex in a dream has to do with demonic relations or something?
Not necessarily. And I would say that that's probably not a Western view. Like if you talk to an American, they first of all, we don't even talk about demonic stuff. We don't know nothing about that. I say all the time here in America, people have like a kindergarten understanding of spirituality, right? So that's not even a part of our awareness for most people.
Yeah.
Most people, of course, not everybody, but most people. That what you're talking about is much more of sort of an African, Caribbean, maybe Eastern understanding, right? Like, so understanding that though that type of information can come through your dreams. But most of us would be like, oh, that ain't real. That ain't true. I don't have no demons. That they can't hurt me. Like that's kind of the American mindset overall. Again, not everybody, but the majority of us. And so no, it can be now, obviously it can be a quote unquote wet dream, right? Like you could literally just be horny, right? And having a sexual dream. It could be that. It could possibly be, depending on how it happens, it could mean something demonic, or sex in a dream too could also mean money. So that's why it depends. One thing could mean several different things in the dream. And so that's why I said it gets complicated. I can't just say, oh yeah, it means this. No, it could mean several things depending on how you had the dream, how you saw it, what was going on. So that's why it's important to get them interpreted and learn these things, because it has several different meanings.
Wow. Wow, because there are like these sexual intercourse in the dream. Most people when they have this kind of dream, they get into this kind of panic attitude, like I have connection with demonics, and or maybe I have a kind of relationship with spiritual husband, spiritual wife, or something like that. And actually, it's quite interesting that you hit on it on this, with this very mindset, because actually because a lot of people actually in bondage as a result of this kind of dream, and they live in fear, they live in worries, and then looking for who is gonna deliver them. Yeah, just because I had sex in a dream last night is because I'm possessed or something with some kind of spirit or thereabout. So, because I believe this kind of dream happened to a lot of people experience this kind of sex in the dream. So sometimes when people see themselves in the water, they think, okay, yes, maybe I'm having something related to water spirit or something, and because of this, they live in fear.
See, and again, like, why would you live in fear? Why wouldn't you just go to somebody again? Go to somebody trusted. If you don't know somebody, get a referral, find somebody. Why wouldn't you just go to somebody to interpret it, or go to somebody and get a reading and find out? Why would you, unnecessarily put yourself in fear and anxiety when you don't need to be?
Yeah. And also sometimes
I value my peace of mind. So, again, I believe in experts. I believe if you're sick, go to a doctor. You know what I mean? You don't just sit there and be sick and, and just say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm sick. Go to a doctor, get help, get medicine, take care of it. Again, your dreams are there to help you, not to hurt you.
Yeah.
But you got to use them in their proper context. So even if you believe it's something bad, get it checked out, find out for sure. Don't just, be in a panic or be anxious or depressed or, upset or something and not get it checked out.
Wow. Because there was a time a friend of mine, was talking to me actually regarding this very question that I just asked you just now, I had a sex in a dream last night. My question was like, man, when last did you have anything to do with a woman? Probably maybe this might be the reason why you see yourself having sex in the dream, because probably you'll be thinking about it in the daytime and during your wake life, you'll be thinking of probably, or maybe you saw somebody you just admire, you felt lost after this person. And in the night, this could be the reason. Like I said, sometimes our brain just collects some garbage in the daytime and replay for us in the night when we dream and we wake up and get into worry again, what is going on in our life. So actually, I do think sometimes when people have this kind of sex-related dream, they should actually really question yourself. Maybe you're craving to have anything to do with a woman. For instance, maybe for some times you have not have anything close related to do with a woman. Maybe that is why you're saying it in your dream. It doesn't really mean you're being the money.
Yeah, like I said, like literally that one thing could have 3 different meanings.
Yeah.
So again, if it's something that you're not sure and it's bothering you, get it interpreted. Because you might be right. You might be right. And if you are right, what are you going to do about it? You just going to sit there and be upset? So you still need to do something. Like, you need to take action. That is the whole purpose of your dream. Like I said, it's not there to hurt you. It's there to help you. The only way that it can help you is that you take the information and you use it. But if you just take the information and sit on it and not do anything about it, it can't help you.
Wow. Amazing. Actually, I want you to interpret my dream for me, Eva Laura.
Now I don't do this, right?
There was a time I dreamed that I saw myself flying in the air. What does that mean? What could that mean?
See, who gives you a dream like that? Like, that's not a way that you can interpret. So let me say 2 things. So one, I don't interpret dreams usually in the context in public. And people are like, why? And I'm gonna tell you why. I practice what I preach, right? And like you said, I have a very practical, grounded view. I am not like this woo-woo pie in the sky person. I like to take things that people don't necessarily understand and make it easy for you to digest and get it, right? Very simple, very plain. Because if it's not simple and plain, I'm sitting here talking to you, and what's the use of it if you don't understand what I'm talking about, right? But I practice what I preach. And one of the things, like I said, I know about dreams is a lot of times they can tend to the negative, right? The other thing that I know about dreams is that if it's negative, you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You do not talk about it. And people are like, oh, tell me, I want to know my dream. What if your dream is bad? Now you want me to say in front of the whole world that your dream is bad? And now that gives it more weight. So not only am I talking about it in front of the whole world, now you got all these other people who heard it who could be talking about it. And what happens is when you have a dream, and this is anything, just think about your word and how powerful your word is, right? When you have a dream and you keep talking about it, you keep thinking about it, now you're giving it the ability to happen faster. So if it's something that you don't want to happen, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to focus on it. And so I don't believe in interpreting people's dreams in public when I know it could be something that's bad. And now I don't want to be responsible for telling you bad, or something negative in front of everybody else, right? And so I generally, as a rule, unless I get the dreams beforehand and I can pick and choose the dreams that I'm going to interpret, I don't do that. Because I don't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah.
The other thing is saying somebody's flying in the dream. Again, it could be anything. So just like I talked about sex, it depends on when did you have the dream? How did you have the dream? What did it look like? So those details are important in the dream. You can't just say, well, I was flying. What does that mean? I don't know. It could mean anything. So those factors are important in the dream. So the next thing I want to say is that's why too, when you have a dream, it's important to write them down or to try to remember all of the details, because the details are important. Just like I broke down the tree. If it's one season, the dream, that could mean one thing. If it's another season, it could mean something totally different. How you see the tree could be totally different. All of those details in the dream are important.
Wow, amazing, man. This is actually very quite smart. Honestly, very smart. So probably maybe I have to contact you privately so that we can talk about this flying dream, because yes. I wake up in the morning, I don't have wings. How come I was flying in the air, man?
Yes, exactly. And I want to say that for everybody else too. Definitely want to mention that. Like, I see so many people. This is like one of my biggest pet peeves. But when you know about something, you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. I see people all the time posting dreams on social media. Oh my God, I had this dream last night. It was so bad. Or, oh my God, I had this dream. What does it mean? And they'll put out the whole dream for everybody. And I'm like, it makes no sense. First of all, most people don't know how to interpret dreams. That's number one. I've told you how complicated they are and how you really have to study to get them. So most people don't even understand them. Two, you, even if they do, you know, even if they do, let's say this person does understand dreams, and let's say they interpret your dream. Now you done put out something about yourself for the whole world to see. Do you really want this person to know this about you? Right? Especially if you don't know what the dream is. And three, anybody who's good at it is going to charge you. They're not going to just interpret your dream on social media. Yeah, this is what your dream means. No, if this is what they do and they're really good at it, this is their part of their business or whatever, they're going to charge you for it. So it doesn't make any sense to ever put your dream out on social media, because somebody like me can read that post and know exactly what's going on with you and be like, damn, that's messed up. Like, do you just want people to know about you? So you got to be smart. So if you're looking for somebody, you can post, hey, I'm looking for a good dream interpreter, you know, give me your referrals, but don't put your dream out there for everybody to see. You don't know who's reading your stuff, and you don't even know what it means. So you don't know what you're putting out there about yourself.
Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Honestly, I really appreciate this your wisdom related to this dream interpretation. Actually, I realized during my research about you, I realized so much of your potential and how incredible you are with
Thank you.
what you do. You know, I really quite appreciate that you decide to become who you are today. You know,
Oh, thank you.
I really do, because sometimes there are people. A lot of life have changed through your teachings and through your help and your cause and with what you do. Think about it. If you never choose to live your dream, so what could have happened to those kind of people? You know, so I really, really appreciate what you do and the way you do everything you do. And I pray God
Thank you.
bless you for it. You know,
Thank you.
so it was really quite an interesting moment that we share together, and I really, really do appreciate it. And I want to ask this question: what impact do you really want to make in this world?
First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for saying that. I am a huge, you know, believer in that, and I tell my clients all the time that, you know, I'm grateful that you chose me. Right? For whatever reason you chose me. Some people really feel like they're divinely led to me. Some people just got a referral from a friend. Somebody saw me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I want to work with her." Whatever the reason is, or they saw me speak or something. But I'm always grateful for that, because I'm very clear that if you didn't choose me, I could not serve my purpose, right? And so just like you need me to help you, I need you so that I could fulfill my purpose. So thank you for saying that, because it's you know, it's really a blessing when you know who you are, when you understand your purpose and you know your gifts. But it's also one of those things that when you know, it's how you want to live, and you need people to help you to live in that, right? So I'm grateful for the people who do support me and who do call on me and who do, you know, utilize my services. I really feel blessed about that. um you know, the impact that I want to make, you know, I'm making it. You know, I'm already starting to make it. I believe that everybody has a purpose, has a calling, has gifts, has talents, right? And I believe that it is our job to use our gifts and use our talents and walk in purpose. Like, God created all of us and he created us different to serve a purpose. Right. And so, like you said, if I'm not serving my purpose, it's somebody who could really use my help. And I'm not there and available to do it for them because I'm over here maybe working at a job that I hate, right? Just because so I can make money, when people need me over here to help interpret their dreams, or people need me over here to help them to figure out what they want to do with them lives, or to figure out how to make their relationships healthier and improve them, or to be happy, or to be whole, to feel complete, and to do the work that they want to do in the world. So I believe that we all have something that we're good at. We all have our gifts, our talents, and it is our job to figure out what that is and to live from that place. And so part of my impact is helping people to be better, helping people to get to the next level of their rise, not to stay stuck, but to move from settling to significance, to make your impact in the world. And when you make an impact in the world, I'm making an impact on the world because I helped you to get to that place. So I believe that I really help other people to make an impact, and that is my impact.
Amazing. Quite amazing. This is very interesting, you know. And also you offer a lot of services. You do keynote speaking. You are a certified spiritual counselor, a life coach, hypnotherapist, aromatherapist, yoga instructor, spiritual healer, intuitive consultant.
Now
You
you're
know,
making me sound like an overachiever.
yeah. You know, when people want to link you for all these services, where can they easily find you?
Yeah, so I'm easy to find. So that's one thing. My name is Ava Laura. There's no other Ava Lauras. So I am very easy to find. I am Googleicious. You just type in AVALAURA and I will pop up with my head wrap. And I'm all over social media. So when you go to my website at avalora.com, you can get all my social media links, or you can check me out. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I am on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. So I'm on Instagram. So you can find me anywhere. And the easiest thing to do, if you know, you're like, if you're so inspired and you're just like, I know that I need help. I know that I'm meant for greatness. I know there's more that I want to do with my life. And, maybe I'm staying stuck, or I'm realized I'm settling. I'm doing pretty well, but I'm not where I want to be. Right. One of the things you can do is you can request a consultation with me, and we can talk, and I can see how I can help you.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Eva Laura. And I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate this. And thank you so much for this exclusive moment, for helping us to understand what dream is actually all about and how it can really affect our wake life. Sometimes most of us, we don't actually know dreams are ways that God used to communicate to our wake life. And sometimes because we are too busy in the daytime, even when God is speaking to us, there are so many noises choking us on both
Yes.
ears. We can't
Lots of
listen.
distractions.
A lot of distraction. Then he just wait. Don't worry. When you go to bed tonight, I will talk to you.
And even then, you want to be distracted, like, oh, that didn't happen. That ain't real. Oh, it's just a dream.
And even when he speaks in the night, we wake up in the daytime, we don't remember what he says to us. Then just like me, until I hit on somebody, boom, I say, oh damn, I could have listened to this. So it was really nice to actually hear this from an expert like you, to really understand what dreams and how important they could really be to our life, and how we can be able to pay attention to them. And also, I really quite appreciate the system you shows on how we can actually be able to keep journal of our dreams. Sometimes they will try to think we're smart. I will write it down later.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up in the morning, the dream is still very fresh in you. You can still remember it, but you think, okay, I will write it down later. And later you try to remember, you can't remember shit anymore.
Nope.
So at the end of the day, instead of you being happy, yes, you find a journal where you can read what you wrote down, you end up regretting, oh, I wish I knew I could have written this thing down. So whenever we have a dream, and it is wise that when we wake up in the morning, we quickly try to take a journal of it. We might not have time to actually analyze or try to read minutes to the dream. Then whenever you have time, you always have a journal to come back to, which will like refresh your memory. So this was actually really very wise idea that you put across here. I really appreciate, and I want to thank everyone for joining me on this platform tonight. And I hope and I believe that we all get the best out of this event tonight. Eva, I really, really appreciate. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to grow more relationship with you. It's a pleasure to have you. So do have a
Thank you.
good. I think should I say do have a good afternoon? Yeah, do have a
Good
good afternoon.
afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you, Eva Laura, and do have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.